Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Just, just trying to do this thing. Make my way to work. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I've got one of those things. Starts with the J. Oh boy. Get excited about that video. You are gonna love it. But not today. I've got to really prepare for that one. What on earth are you doing? Better be careful. All right, so today, shared goals. Gotta remember, gotta not forget what I'm doing here. Yeah, shared goals. You may or may not have seen the most recent Prager University video on why you can't argue with the left. With the premise that the reason... Dude, I turned you off. What are you doing? The reason you can't argue with the left is because we don't share the same goals. That's the premise. Listen, I think it's valid. I think it's good. The question that I was left with in my head, though, and it's just hard to publicly proclaim what your goals are. Why? Why would that be hard? I mean, obviously he was able to articulate that allegedly liberals and conservatives want clean air to breathe. That seems like an easy one. So I was thinking about this topic recently. I was like, I think I'm starting to understand a little more about what makes the world go round in regards to why is there such a thing as a leftist? Why is there such a thing as an extremist? Why is there such a thing as anything? Like, whew, people can do a great job of dehumanizing themselves with their own idiotic beliefs. I hope they're not behind me. Oh gosh, of course they're behind me. Oh boy. I mean, what do you do? What do you do, bro? What do you do? You just do what you do. You just do what you gotta do. Except people don't make it easy. I mean, it's an ambulance, guys. It's an ambulance. Like, clear the way. And be considerate. Be considerate of others. Like, simple, guys. So simple. All right, so yeah, but maybe that's not a shared goal. Maybe some people's goal is not for somebody's life to be saved. All right, so we're going to touch on a couple of topics regarding this shared goals situation, okay? Because I think it affects more than we understand. Shared goals. There are definitely people that don't share the same goals as you. And I think that that's part of the premise of that video, that some people are going to have a dispute with, obviously. is who determines what the right goals are. So I've got some questions, some of which I won't answer today. We're going to talk about these things, though, over time, okay? One is this. This is one of my questions. What is a republic? I'm wondering if the average American knows the answer to that question. What is a republic? What is it? My suspicion is that most people have no idea how to explain or describe a republic. That's my assumption. All right, shared goals though. Why is that relevant? It's relevant in regards to the other question, in how do you determine what the right shared goal should be. That's why the question of what is a republic is extremely relevant for determining what shared goals should be. Okay? Does the Constitution, does it declare or define the goals that we should have as a nation? Is there a document that exists that declares what goals we should have? That is a good question. Is there a document that states goals that we should have as human beings on this planet? I would say, yeah, there definitely is. Is there one that everyone can agree upon? Probably not. Definitely not globally. Then we'd already have one world nation, a one world order, one nation Earth, all the different various names. Because if we really could agree on a common goal, then yeah. And so that's all we would do, is we would literally just sit around working out the best possible solutions for problems that we have shared common goals on, and we would solve those problems. And we would experiment, and we'd be like, well, that method didn't work. We tried that for 5 years. Tried that for 10 years. We tried that for 1 year. That's not working. Let's try this. Let's try this. Look at that. We're getting better. Look at that. We're getting better. And the world would be like really stupendous, right? But it's the nature of conflicting goals that leads to true discord worldwide. It is the fact that individuals come up with new goals that leads to the most massive amount of conflict. So, where do these goals come from? Well, let's take an example of another man that had a mustache almost his entire life. In his upper years, he ended up shaving it off, it appears. So that just ruled out a couple of people that were striking your mind. This man was fascinated with electricity. Probably know who it is now. He was possibly autistic. He worked with Thomas Edison. He worked with Westinghouse. And he worked with J.P. Morgan. Yes, you guessed correctly. Nikola Tesla. Now, this is a man that worked with these people on goals they thought he was on board with, but he had a secret plan. He had a different idea for the way the world should operate. He had different goals. One of his goals was worldwide free electricity. Electricity for everybody, and free through ideas that he was conceptualizing, wholeheartedly believed could be a reality, executed in his own imagination, but never funded properly to happen in real life. There's a massive gap between his imagination and what we can even perceive as possible. It's so amazing when you look in both directions and all you see is gray. I mean, you kind of see it through my window there. I'm looking at what's supposed to be water, and I see nothing but gray. I see no horizon. So amazing. What's really, really cool is if I went up like 10,000 feet, I would be able to see blue sky and the sunshine. That just blows my mind, really, truly. All right, so free electricity for everyone. I mean, that was his secret goal, guys. And he didn't share that. Obviously, we know about it now. He must have journaled or whatever. Okay. That's just a simple, I'm not going to say harmless per se, but that's a simple example. Okay. Let's just say that's not nefarious at the least, right? It's not necessarily causing harm, except to us investors if it was a completely failed endeavor. However, you never know what other consequential benefits there might have been to that, to him pursuing that a little more. Other things certainly could have been learned from that process. His wireless transmission of electricity and all that interesting that he was trying to do. But anyway, my point is shared goals, guys. He didn't share goals, and that wasn't necessarily evil or a bad thing. It's just, it was not the same goal. And not everybody would have the goal. I mean, this is a great example. If we could generate electricity for free, then it would logically, if for free, right? So a completely unmanaged system, like doesn't require employees of any kind, so on and so on, right? It's just somebody invents this thing and they don't want credit, which is just remarkable. That is remarkable. So they invent this thing, provides electricity to the world for free, nearby miraculous, obviously, right? It requires no staffing or infrastructure or anything, okay? It would be logical to say, well, therefore, yeah, we're not going to charge for the electricity, right? That would be logical. I don't know that, I mean, Tesla somehow, I feel like you could argue pretty easily, or just, I mean, it seems pretty simple to say that the dude wasn't, the dude was probably a socialist in his brain, right? He thought there, yeah, I mean, you read the stuff he wrote, he didn't think very highly of, like, he called the dude JP Morgan, I think he called him a big man. You're a big man and I'm not, all this stuff. Like, he had this mentality that there was an obligation. I'm not arguing whether or not there is an obligation. Sometimes you just wonder. Sometimes you just wonder. Going 18 miles an hour. I tell you, every time I see that Gaines Auto Center, it looks like games. I think I've said that before. It just looks like a little video game store, but it's an auto repair shop. That's really some weird branding, right? All right. I see. I passed the sign. I get it. Gosh. Anyway, his goal wasn't evil, but it was assumptive. Somebody should pay, but the people shouldn't. And it goes back to my previous argument about the provision of value and your you deserve a reward. I don't know what the passive word for that is. You desert. I know that's obviously not a word. I'm making up a word here, trying to think of what the word would be. What's due to you? Your deservingness of an award. There's a good word there. It escapes me. There's got to be a good word for that, and maybe there isn't. Language is limited. 4D peekaboo. All right, that's fun. 4D ultrasounds back there, guys. It's kind of cool. What do you smell, or what's the fourth? What's the deal? Video. So instead of 3D, it's like video. So what's going on? I don't know. Smelling it would be a new reality. All right, so he had an expectation that people would pay for this, and not the ones that are receiving the value, but the ones that just aren't capable. Just because of what it would do for humanity in the long term, for the better good. That was his mentality. I really believe it was a little small thinking. And then on the other hand, it's potentially noble. So like, it's both. So on one hand, you could call the guy an evil socialist, psychopath, whatever. I mean, you're not turning left, so I'm good to go. It's a boulevard. Wow, go. Good grief. I thought there was a weight limit to bicycles. The dude was like 350, maybe 400. He was rolling along though. Tires were still, it wasn't on rim. Anyway, yeah, something happened. It's a lot of ambulances. Ambulance. Alrighty. So what I'm saying is, was he noble because he saw somehow, supernaturally or otherwise, the benefit to mankind that would be created, and the cost, no matter whose cost it was, even if at the expense of harming others, even at the expense of harming, and what I mean is, let's say it's evil, hypothetically, or whatever. Okay, let's just say it's evil to take money from people. Let's just say that's evil. And let's just say that even though that could be evil, it was actually better to actually accomplish worldwide free electricity for all time. The cost benefit, it's about the cost benefit ratio. And the cost benefit, the benefit way outweighed the cost, even at the harm of countless rich people, hypothetically. So, in as much as that might or could be true, I mean, it's such a hypothetical. It's all speculation. Let's say it was good. So then, if it successfully worked out, then there would be the harm of all these people. Let's say hypothetically, all of the wealthy people on Earth, they're all homeless and they die as a result of this. Was their sacrifice of all of their wealth and the sacrifice of their life worth an eternity of energy independence for all? I mean, most people would probably actually say, yeah, it was worth it because of the extreme long-term gain. I get that. That depends on your perspective on the value of human life. I think a good portion of people would say, yeah, in that case, hypothetically, that would be worth it. Okay? But then there's the flip side. It's about the gamble. That's important to consider, the gamble. So if it was a failure and it was at the cost of all, well, duh. The question is, you never really know whether or not something's going to be a failure or not. So that's not a shared goal. Energy for free is not a shared goal. Should it be? Well, some goals are contingent on beliefs that aren't shared universally. So it kind of goes back. I think that there's a precipitating factor for this shared goal concept. That's what I'm going. That's really the basis of what I wanted to get at. Basically, what I wanted to get to was, it's not just where these goals come from. It's not like there are objective, eternal, self-existent goals that are good, that everybody should agree on, that there's just a select few people that don't agree and have other goals. It's not that way. There are goals that are simple enough and it makes logical sense that we should be collectively for that as a goal. Those are typically summed up in list of human rights. Most, not all, but most people agree with certain human rights. I question the concept of human rights from a philosophical standpoint. Because I like the Stillman argument. There's so many humanists out there. There's so many naturalists. There's so many atheists. There's so many agnostics. There's so many religious. There's so many spiritual. There's so many Christian. There's so many anti-Christian. There's like almost as many religious and spiritual convictions as there are people on the planet, guys. Almost as many. The number of people that agree on concepts reduces that number very, very insignificantly. Very few people line up hand in hand with perfect accord. It's extremely rare. Oh, that was just barely past the point of no return. Just barely. Oh, it's so frustrating. I hate running yellow lights. I hate it. Really hate it. It makes me sick to my stomach. I was just like literally on the point of no return on it. It's like going 39 miles an hour, 6 miles under the speed limit, and yet I was definitely past the PONR. I know, it's a weird acronym. It's strange. But this one, I was like, I don't know, 400 feet, 600 feet before the PONR, and it was just like a no-brainer. I'd be a psychopath if I ran this one. I mean, it would have been red more than likely before the bulk line. Anyway, bulk line, is it BA or BU? Bulk line. I think it's bulk line, guys. At least one person in the universe knows. At least one. His name is Mark Allwine. Leave a comment if you know that dude. You probably don't. No one that ever watches this video for all time will probably have a clue what I'm talking about. It's okay. Much respect, though. Much respect. You never know. You never know who's thinking or talking about you. You never know. It's kind of interesting. Oh, shared goals, guys. It goes back to belief. That's my argument, okay? And that's what I think is a little bit I mean, it was a great video. Don't get me wrong. I don't think I necessarily could have written it better. Good old OB that did the Prager video on why you can't argue with the left. He does an excellent job. He communicates very clearly. You see a little bit of his... you see a little bit, just like a pheromone of anger and disgust just sneak through ever so slightly towards the left. Little animosity pheromone leaking out. You can just smell it through the video. I'm being a little sarcastic, facetious, but I'm also serious. I think there's at least one little micro expression in there. Good old 0.0018 milliseconds. It's one of those good flashes. Alrighty. It's such a lie. Why are you even advertising that? The Domino's tracker on the side of the semi, the tractor trailer, they've got the tractor tracker. They've got the Domino's tracker. The your pizza's being tossed right now. They got the little logo, like, I don't know, imagery, whatever. You know what I'm talking about. I don't know why you'd even advertise that when everybody knows it's a lie. It's because nobody cares it's the wrong thing to say. It's that nobody's doing anything about the things that they may or may not care about. That's more accurate. Hardly anyone is doing anything. Am I doing anything? I don't know if I'm doing. I'm over here philosophizing. That's not doing anything either, according to Aristotle that I read this morning. Just because you're thinking and talking about something, you really do need to do something about it. He likened philosophizing to the man that listens to the doctor and does nothing about his health. To all the good advice. He just listens to it. It's like, oh yeah, good advice. Does nothing about it. So Aristotle says that the man that just philosophizes and just sits around talking about stuff, does nothing, well, he's no better either. So what am I doing? Well, this is a question I'm asking this year. What am I doing? Sharing ideas can be a form of doing something. Is it enough? Mm. 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 All right. Let's proceed. So you've got shared goals. You've got the precipitating factor of what is the belief, okay, that leads to a shared goal. So, shared goal. Well, shared goal, let's say that hypothetically the majority of people on this planet share a common goal of the continuation of mankind. I'm not saying who should continue, just that mankind should continue. I'm going to venture a wild guess. I mean, I could be completely wrong, but I'm going to say that 50.00000000, add 100 more zeros, 0.0 with 100 zeros, then the number 1. So just over 50%, at least, I'm going to make the statement that that number or greater of humans on this planet believe that human beings should continue to exist on this planet and therefore should proliferate. Procreate. Babies should be born. I'm going to say no less than half believe that's the case. Is the number higher? I hope. Is the number greater than 90%? Is it greater than 90%? Is it greater than 95%? Okay. Is there a portion of people on this planet greater than 5% that think that humans should stop existing right now? Okay, well, 10% would be 750. 750 million. Okay. 1% would be 75 million. Are there 75 million people on this planet, 1%, that believe that humans should stop existing forever right now? More than 1%, 75 million. Is there 7.5 million people? Oh, I get the point. Stop with the math. I'm sorry. Yeah, I get it. Should there be a mob rule? That's kind of what we're getting at too, right? Well, is the majority important? Is the minority important when it comes to shared goals? Kind of. The minority can be right. The majority can be wrong. Vice versa. The minority that's the loudest and the screamiest and the shriekest, they can be wrong. And the majority can be right. They're not right because they are the majority, though. And the minority is not right or wrong because they're the minority. That's not how facts work, guys. That is not how facts work. Facts don't care about numbers. They don't care about feelings, but they also don't care about majority or minority. That's not how facts work. Think about it. Huh? That's that's not how it works. Okay? So, are there 75 people? That number is very small compared to 7.5 billion. Are there 75 people on our planet that believe and can argue logically why humans should stop existing right now? All humans, themselves included, their children included, if they have them, but with that ideology, they probably wouldn't. If they were going to be logically consistent, they probably would not have children. That would be very hypocritical. But are those are there 75 on this planet. I think that there could be 75 people. I think that there could be 750 people. I think that there could be 750 people on our planet that believe that humans should stop existing. 100%. 7,500? It's complete speculation in imagination land. I have no idea. It's so beyond me. It really is. It really is. So, woo! Anyway, these cars are coming real fast. I ain't trying to live today, guys. I'm trying to live. All right, so it's about belief, though, because honestly, that's just one issue, whether or not humans should continue. Oh, that train is coming. It was a good mile down the track, but I saw its headlight. I'm always ahead of the train. Just fortunate like that. Anyway. Why is this important? All right. So you know how this works, right? History. Look at history. Look at the people that have fought wars and why. Why have people fought wars? What are they fighting for? It's big stuff, guys. So if there's a human being that believes that humans should stop existing, that is literally antisocial. And I'm not talking about, I probably have discussed this before. A lot of people don't understand what the word antisocial means. It doesn't mean you don't like to hang out with people. It doesn't mean you're a loner or that you're weird. Antisocial literally means against society. So when somebody has antisocial personality disorder, like in the movie I watched last night with Tyler Perry, I believe it was 2012 movie, that dude in that movie had antisocial personality. Says I'm live. There, I'm back. The dude in the movie that I watched, he had antisocial personality disorder. And at the very least, he had other stuff too, more than likely. Point being, that means against society. So, should a person be, should a person that has against society beliefs be taken out of society, restricted from society, excommunicated from society? Well, that depends on what you think, right? So if you believe that humans should continue and another dude believes that humans should not continue, this dude that believes humans should not continue believes that humans do not provide value to existence, and that's, I mean, that has to be your basic underlying foundational belief. That the value that humans provide to existence is not worth continuation. And if you believe that, then go ahead and prove it. That's a major challenge, but go ahead and prove it. Prove how humans don't provide value to existence. I think that'd be a hard one to prove. But then whatever. Maybe it's really hard to prove the other side too. So when somebody's against society, what do we do about it? Is this idea that I'm communicating, this silly idea of a man that wants humans to stop existing, is this a weird idea? Is this something that doesn't relate to anything in our normal day-to-day life? I argue no. It has very much to do with our day-to-day life. And there are people with certain beliefs that motivate their what? Their goals. Someone that sees little value in human life, value creation, value contribution, we'll put it that way. Someone that sees very little value contribution of man. It's not just value contribution, that's the humanistic way to look at it, okay? Natural, right? It's not just about value contribution. If you think about certain laws of physics and science, you think nothing can be added to or taken away, which kind of calls into question the whole non-renewable resource thing. Think about it. If you can't add or take anything away from the universe, that's why they ask, does the Earth weigh more now than 1,000 years ago? More or less? Because we've sent a lot of stuff up into space. But has anything landed on our planet? And what's the net loss or gain? Is there attrition? I don't know. It's interesting. Ask that question. Find out. So here we go. When somebody has the belief that there's no value contribution, or here's the other thing, it's about what is the value of man? What is the identity of man? What are the inherent qualities and or values of a human being? What value does a human being have? For a man that believes that humans have no value apart from what they're able to contribute, we are merely parts of a machine. For a man that believes that we are bestowed special value and we have an identity that has been given to us, certain qualities that are above our, like they go beyond our mere existence, which might blow some of your minds, that changes your perspective, that changes your goals. If you believe that we are created, that we are a creation of a creator, and if you believe that we are loved by that creator, valued by that creator, given certain qualities of that creator, well, that, my friends, very much changes your goal. Very much changes your goal. Because preservation is honorable, noble in that case. Preservation is completely irrelevant if we have no value. Preservation is just complete waste if we don't have inherent value. Bestowed value, I would say. Value beyond even existence, which is extra dimensional thinking. And I know that gets you a little worked up in your brain, a little twisted. That's okay. It's okay. Shared goals, guys, is about belief. What do you believe? It's going to motivate what your goals are. So one of the ways that I was looking at this recently, and I'll close with this, is I think that every person group, people, um, ideology, religion, everybody is clinging, holding on to what they believe is the truth. They're clinging on, claiming and holding on to something that they consider as valuable, as good, in their own eyes. Whether or not it is in reality, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm just saying, no one is saying as a virtue, I say no one, there's probably those people too, but it's still, depending on which way you twist it, it could still be seen as a value. So my point is, everybody's looking at a possible truth, a hypothetical truth, and nobody is claiming, I mean, according to Aristotle too, obviously, but nobody is holding on to absolute falseness as their as their way of life. Anything that it's not even logical, right? So let me give you some examples so you know what I'm talking about. So some people are like, peace, right? Peace for all. Everybody deserves peace on the planet, right? No hunger. Everybody deserves to have a full belly. Safety. Everybody deserves to be safe. Pleasure. Some people, like, life is about pleasure. Everybody should have pleasure and have fun, right? Relations. Some people are like, man, that's really all it's about. It's about just like sharing the love, man. Just getting out there and just sharing it with everybody. Sodomites. So anyway, there's different. It just got dark. There's different components of absolute truth in all of these ideas. They're coming from a source of absolute truth, and they're like a little sliver of the pie of truth. And in the meantime, some of these people are also accepting lies that they believe support their idea of the truth, but they accept crap with the good stuff. Distortion, extremes, whatever the case. Aristotle is talking about it where I was reading this morning. It's about, there's this balance between too much of a good thing, it becomes non-virtuous. Not enough of a good thing, obviously, is the same. Too much courage can be foolhardiness, I think is the word. Too much courage, right? You can be a fool, be haphazard, right? If you have too much courage, and then not enough, you're a coward, right? So there's that balance, and that can be you can perpetuate that with every other virtue, hypothetically. Except he said that there are certain things that are inherently evil 100% of the time, which I found very interesting. Adultery and murder, he claims, are inherently perfectly evil. As in, there's not a lesser degree. Oh, it's just little murder, you know. Interesting. So evil 100% of the time, according to that guy. He's just that guy, though. I mean, nobody really cares who he was, because I mean, it's not that important. I'm not being sarcastic when I say, I mean, it's interesting, but it's not actually. He's not the source of all truth by any means. He just flirted with some truth, like we all flirt with some truth, and some of us get married to the truth, guys. Some of us devote our lives to it. Anyway. So that's why people are willing to die on mountains and they still look crazy. They look crazy for the lies they accept. They don't look crazy for the truth they accept. They want to die for the truth that they're holding on to, but they're accepting and claiming the lies as part of the truth. And we should definitely do a better job of filtering out the lies. which is not method related, okay? It's not method related. Love is great, but what is love? Love is not hedonism. Love is not self-seeking. Got to understand the definition of words. Got to understand the underlying root, absolute truth. And as long as those things are being argued, we're not going to have the same goals. We're just not. Goals, guys, they're not going to be shared if the beliefs aren't similar. Sorry, guys, it's just not the way our world works. It sounds really nice that liberals and conservatives could get along. Hypothetically, they could. Hypothetically, they could. But it is a utopian idea, okay? It's an argument meant to set aside and identify extremists because they are a threat to reality. They're not a threat to reality. They're a threat to humanity. Extremists are a threat to humanity. Some extremists have been right, okay? Some have done good things. Most have done horrible, psychotic things. The bottom line is, there is an absolute truth. There are many people that deny that. And as long as people deny that, we are going to have war. The fact that there is an absolute truth and that you are not that your brain and your experience is outside of the vessel of absolute truth, that idea is abhorrent to you because it causes you to realize you are not God. And that doesn't jive for folks that have eaten from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, which is humanity. We all have the effects of a temptation towards believing that we can be like God. And as a result, we will always, for as long as there are human beings and the world has not been made new, until Jesus comes back, guys, we will always be fighting or not. And that's the biggest dividing line between humanity, is those that fight the concept that you're a God and those that pretend to accept it, all the while knowing that there's something wrong. Well, this has been wonderful. Thanks for all the chats, the thumbs ups. I think I got, I see a lot of zeros. I'll just put it that way. When I'm looking at the little thumb symbol there, I see a lot of zeros. And then when I'm looking at the number of people watching right now, all I see is zeros, guys. Just zeros on zeros on zeros on zeros. 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 That's man, that is the next hit rap song. It just sounds cool. And with a little auto-tunes and a good beat, that that could be on the level. Legit. All I got is zeros on zeros on zeros on zeros. Zeros on zeros on zeros on zeros. All I got is zeros on zeros on zeros on zeros. It just sounds cool. It really does. You get the prize. You get to hear a pretty significantly amazing rap. if you made it to the end of this video. Congratulations to you. And hey, guess what? You're not God. And that's some good news.